Guys, today I'm going Beer Missionary on you. So not only do I love wine, but man, I love white beers. I love wheat beers. Today I'm blind tasting 9 true German Hefeweizen. Stay tuned, los geht's. Hey guys, Barron Beltz, the wine missionary here. Today, the beer missionary. Guys, I've been so excited about this tasting. I have to admit, I was even more excited about this tasting than the Primitivo tasting that I had several days ago. So that's a red wine made in Italy. So click above and you can check out that video too of a blind tasting of Primitivo wines. Today though, every single one of these beers, they are a wheat beer, so Hefeweizen, which literally German translated, Hefe means yeast and Weizen means wheat. So as you can pretty much guess, that means that the majority of these brews are going to be from wheat. Now, I've seen different rules and things, but when it comes right down to it, when it comes to the wheat percentage, it's got to be greater than 50%. This I do know. Now, these Hefeweizens, because of that, do not fall in something that's called the Reinheitsgebot, or the Bavarian beer laws, because of their high percentage of wheat. So literally in those laws, there's different things, but basically that just means you can have water and barley and malt. And that's literally what it comes down to. Hops, can't remember. I'm not a beer guy. I just love drinking beer, right? So today I'm blind tasting these 9 different Hefeweizens. They're all German. I'm super excited about this. So now here's the thing, I'm gonna tell you straight up. I don't know, like when it comes to like smelling beers and do you swish a beer in your mouth like you do with wine? I'm not real sure how I'm gonna do this, but what I do know is that I'm going to order these like in the order that I think is best to, maybe not the best. But right up front, I gotta tell you guys, there is one that I already know which one this is. So there is actually a Dunkel Hefeweizen in the mix. This comes from Paulaner. I have only found a couple of others, and actually I found those in Berlin, but this is one that I found in Berlin and also found it here in the Kandern area. So Dunkel Hefeweizen. Guys, I have no clue why it's Dunkel, how it became Dunkel. It just is different, has unique flavors, and I love them. So that's the only one that isn't blind for me because the color is completely different than all the rest. So with that, we're gonna get started. So I'm just gonna make a couple of notes as I go along so that I can kind of keep track of them, and this will help me to be able to kind of keep them in order from a standpoint of what were my favorites and, you know, least favorites, that kind of thing. So Tim, where does 11 start? Here. All right, so from 11, I'm going to start doing this thing. Now, guys, I am going to use my little trick with the white piece of paper. This just helps me to get some good light from behind me, natural light. This way I can look at the color. I can tell you right now, they're all pretty similar, but some are more hazy than others. Some are almost completely clear. I find that very interesting, like right from the very beginning, the difference in colors. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So number 11. Number 11, I can tell you right off the bat, this has one of the prettier heads on it. So it's kind of a creamy white, but kind of stiff. So it's been hanging in there. I can tell that just from looking at it. So looking at it through the white paper, so it's hazy, that's what I'm used to when I drink Hefeweizen wheat beers. So definitely hazy. I can't see through it at all. Even has kind of a little bit of an orange hue, which is cool to me. So I'm going to smell each of them. I don't know that it's going to be different than what I taste, but yeah, definitely those bright notes. It's what I'm used to when I smell Hefeweizen, because it's those yeasty notes, just the bright kind of wheat notes, that kind of thing. Okay, well, I'm going to tell you right up front that it's kind of cheating to be first because it's my first taste of beer today. And so I'm just going to tell you, man, it tastes really good, like right off the bat. So this one has a creaminess to it, though. So there's a bright character, but it also has a creaminess. It reminds me of like, well, Americans will know, it reminds me of like Wonder Bread. So it has like this kind of softness, kind of a yeasty, but a white bread kind of feeling to it in the mouth. Really like that. Super smooth. So I'm just going to make a couple notes here. All right, number 12. So this is one right off the bat where, man, the color is really different. I hope you can see this, but there's a major difference in the color between these two beers. Not only that, this one is totally clear, whereas this one is totally hazy. Like I said, I'm more used to that haziness when it comes to wheat beer, but here's number 12. So this one definitely has more of an orange hue to it, so a bright orange hue. The head is a little bit darker than the one previously, so I would just say it's kind of a creamy sort of color. Wow, man, so right off the bat, the nose, totally different than number 11. Much more citrusy characteristics. So whereas number 11, it was more yeasty, kind of those bread sorts of things. Here, this is much more of those citrus notes. And guys, I can tell you this, when it comes to Hefeweizen, there are like some major differences from a standpoint of flavors and aromas. But Hefeweizen, I'm used to having some components of some citrusy characteristics that would typically come. So think about wheat when you think about eating anything wheat, but it also comes from the yeast strains that the brewmeister is going to choose for each beer. That's why some might be more orange, some might be a little bit more of a lemon. Now keep in mind with these, there is nothing added to these to give those elements of an aromatic or a flavor, okay? This is no fruit added, in other words. As a matter of fact, when I order my wheat beer, Tim, I don't know how you are, but I say no fruit, please. I don't want fruit in my wheat beer. That's a weird American thing. You'll get kicked out of the brew pub here if you do that in Germany. So anyway, let's go ahead and taste it. Yeah. Also delicious, but completely different than number 11. So number 12, again, it has kind of like a mandarin orange, like a subtle lemon. So don't think bright zingy lemon, but more of a subtle lemon. Not having any of those kind of bread characteristics or anything number 11 had. So very unique, very different, hard to compare. I'm going to tell you straight up, hard to compare those two because they're just so different. So I'm going to make a couple notes here. Number 13. So this is the one that I told you guys is really obvious. So this is the Dunkel Hefeweizen. So Dunkel literally in German means dark. And so you can see right off the bat, man, this thing is dark. Probably has a lot to do with the roasting that they're doing. That's typically where you're going to get a lot of that color. but don't quote me on that. I'm not a beer guy, like I said. So, but that would be my guess. Now I can tell you right off the bat, this one is hazy, so you cannot see through it at all. Totally hazy, but dark. And the head, man, the head is, it's also beautiful. It's because of the darkness of the beer, it kind of has like a tan hue to it with that creaminess, kind of that off-white. But yeah. Yeah, so, wow. So the first three beers, totally different. they're all so unique. This one I know very well though, because I really like this beer a lot. So like right off the bat, I get kind of this, trying to think of the best way to say it. Like if you had like muesli. So just think about like cereal or something like that, but you put it in a pan and you just kind of let it roast a little bit, just to make it a little bit darker, a little bit crisper. That's what this smells like. It has a lot of those kinds of, what is it called? Granola, kind of granola, but it's a more darker granola. So I'm talking to Tim back there, by the way. That's why I keep looking away and staring at him and asking him questions. Yeah, that's what it smells like to me. Maybe just a hint of like a milk, like a, not chocolate, but I would say more of like a cocoa. Cool little background thing there. All right, now taste it. It's one of my favorites, guys. I'm a homer when it comes to that Dunkel Hefeweizen, so I'm just gonna tell you straight up, it's one of my favorites. The thing that this beer has that makes it unique is the fact that it's more complex. So it's not just kind of your traditional I'm not saying Hefeweizens aren't complex, but it just adds a different note to have that kind of, that darker, more of like a roasted character to it. Don't think roasted coffee, like I mentioned earlier to help explain it, but also on the finish too, you get a much richer finish as well. That roasted character continues all the way from when it's in your palate all the way to the finish. Yeah, it's delicious. Like it's still finishing now, so much longer finish than the other two beers. But like I said, I'm a homer, I can't help it, and so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna disqualify this beer. I'm gonna tell you right up front, because otherwise it's just gonna be number one, and then it's really not a fair fight. But I wanted it in the mix because I've never tasted it like against another Hefeweizen. So my note is Dunkel, because I know what it tastes like. It's one of my faves. Number 14, right, Tim?
Yep.
All right, awesome. So this one, I can tell you this too, guys, so that the head is already dissipated quite a bit because there was a few minutes in between pouring and that kind of thing. So really, I'm just able to give you just kind of the remnants, just an idea of what I see when it comes to the head. What I love when I pour a beer, I love to watch the head. Like I love to see, like, is it just kind of, going away really fast? That doesn't mean it's a bad beer. It's just one of those things that you think about. Whereas some of these wheat beers can really hold its head well, and it just dissipates really slowly. So that does two things for you. It keeps it colder because you have insulation layer on top. And it's just fun to have, a mustache too. So anyway, all right, so with this one, number 14, so it has haziness to it, but it also has some clarity. So it's unique from anything that I've seen so far as well. So I would kind of call it mid-hazy, or mid-clear, not sure. Pick one. All right, so now I'm just gonna smell it here. Golly, man. It's amazing how unique these are. The nose on this beer is completely different than the first three. Yeah, very unique. So this reminds me more of like, if you're thinking about like mixed nuts, but don't think about like the darker flavors or anything like that. This would really go more along the lines of like if you had like maybe cashews, that kind of thing. It's a very interesting nose. It has a touch of brightness to it, which I always expect from Hefeweizen. So, but the brightness, it isn't necessarily citrus. It may be more of a yeasty note, but yeah, very unique, very different than the first three that I tasted. Yeah. Wow. Even on the palate, this one's when you're a beer guy, do you call it a palate, Tim? I don't know. You just say in your mouth. So I'm a wine guy, right? So it's my palate. But for a beer guy, man, this is really unique. So like I said, it's totally different aromatically and on the palate. It's very unique. So yeah, cashew is really good descriptor for this one. It has this kind of, it's not off-putting at all. It's just super unique. So yeah, it really reminds me of like, I don't know, like crushed cashew. Like, have you ever had cashew peanut butter? You know what I mean? So not peanut butter, but it's cashew butter. I don't know if they call it that, but anyway, Tim's nodding yes, so I must have that right. Anyway, that's what it really reminds me of, is that sort of nuance. On the finish, it's abrupt. There's not a lot going on. Like it's good in the mouth, and then it just kind of goes away quickly. So that doesn't mean good or bad. It just helps me to kind of put it in context with these other beers. So I'm going to make a few notes here. Okay, so number 15 now. We're here, right, Tim? 15, okay, got it. All right, so the head is pretty much dissipated fully on this, and it's pretty much the same story, like looking at the rest of them, but yeah, just kind of that same off-white, kind of a creamy, kind of cream look to it. So when it comes to the beer itself, so this one has much more clarity to it. So I can actually see the paper through it. So I wouldn't say it's totally clear, but yeah, definitely more clear than hazy. As a matter of fact, I would only say, I mean, it just has a touch of haze to it, but I can clearly see even my writing behind it. So just to kind of give you an idea of the color there. Yeah, really subtle aromas on this beer. Very subtle, not as expressive as the first four. Much more subtle. So this one's going more towards the kind of what I would call like a bread yeast character. So again, making it somewhat unique, whereas if I remember right, 11 was the Wonder Bread kind of thing, which I really enjoyed, by the way. That's not an off-putting thing to me at all. This one tends to be, this is more like, okay, so like, I know some of you guys, I know Miss Baird's bread is not like fully national in the United States. At least I don't think it is, right, Tim? It's kind of more of a Southern thing. Okay, so in Texas anyway, we have Miss Baird's bread. That's the name of the brand. Well, they have I'm trying to remember what it's called. It's like a honey-topped wheat bread. So even when you look at the bread, it's a very light color. So it's not like some sort of dark wheat or something like that. But when you first open the bag, like a fresh bag of that, that's what that smells like. I mean, it's like this smell that you don't get anywhere else. Very interesting, that sort of just touch of honey in the background, but that really Hefeweizen wheat. I mean, what do you expect? That's what it smells like, kind of like fresh wheat bread. Yeah. So this has been the most polite of all the beers so far. So there's nothing rich, nothing complex, nothing that really stands out about it. Now, I'm not saying that's bad. If something bad stood out, that would be terrible, but it's just very polite, super easy going. Matter of fact, I would say if you poured this beer for me and I just tasted it, I would not think it was a wheat beer, like first thing off my head. That's not what I would think. Maybe from the aromatics a little bit, because it does smell like wheat bread a little bit, but really it's just kind of normal, just kind of a good. Yeah, so I'll make a couple notes there. All right, moving on to number 16. By the way, there was not a 1 through 10 in this tasting. the bags that I bought, so it tells you on the ad, there's a 1 through 10 and then there's an 11 through 20, right, Tim? Okay, we don't have 20 here. So anyway, I just think it's funny that it starts with 11, but it's really number 1, so just follow along there. It is a funny thing. Okay, so number 16. Number 16, man, this is by far the clearest that I've seen. Literally, it looks like apple juice. Like it's totally clear. Very little head at all remaining. Yeah, literally, if like without the head, because there's just a little bit of head left, but if you just put this in front of me, I would literally think it's apple juice. That's exactly what it looks like to me. All right, so give it a little smell here. See what it smells like. Definitely doesn't smell like apple juice. So just a note there. The nose is very subtle on this beer. It's not expressive. Like there really isn't anything that stands out at all. It's just, it smells like beer, right? Okay, smelling it again, there is a little hint of like a kind of a wheat character in there, but it's very much in the background. Like you really have to work that out. So very unique from a standpoint of aromatics. It's the most subtle, I would say, of all of them so far. Yeah, interesting. So flavor profile too, it definitely tastes like a wheat beer. So whereas the aromatics are kind of dull to me, there's not a lot going on there. Again, that doesn't mean bad. It's just a characteristic of this beer. But once I taste it, so it does have a few of these kinds of, I would say, again, more of the bread leaning more so than that kind of citrus or bright side. It's, man, I'm having trouble describing this one because it's just kind of nondescript in a nice way. So it's okay. Like I wouldn't send it back. It just tastes like a very normal run-of-the-mill wheat beer. So make a couple notes here. All right, Tim, so number 17, right? Okay, yeah, all right. Let's see, so yeah, looking at this beer, so this is totally different than the one before it. So remember 16 apple juice, this one is totally cloudy. So, I mean, literally I can't see at all through the glass. This I would say is much more of like what I'm used to seeing when it comes to wheat beer. The head, like I said, it's been a while, so it's dissipated somewhat. Definitely more of a kind of off-white, maybe even just a touch of tan. But the color, again, has a little bit more of that orange hue to it as well. So, all right, let's give it a smell here. Okay, so yeah, right off the bat, much more traditional wheat beer. So not only just from the sight, like looking at this, seeing how cloudy it is, but aromatics, it smells like a wheat beer. So it has a little bit of that citrus note to it. So a little bit of that kind of, maybe a touch of like a hint of orange, a little bit of lemon together, but don't think like fresh, biting, that kind of thing. It's much more subtle than that. Much more like a kind of a sweet touch of orange, sweet touch of lemon. And then it has just a little bit of that yeasty character there too. So when I say yeast, I'm talking about bread. So like a white, like fresh baked white bread, but don't think the smell of the crust. Think of the smell of the bread itself, like the inside of the bread. It has a little bit of all of those things going on. I can tell you right from the bat, the aromatics are my favorite so far, for sure. Because it just smells like classic Hefeweizen. Yeah. So, Tim, I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to call that one out as Paulaner Hefeweizen. That's so. I have no clue, guys. It's totally blind, no idea. But and if I'm wrong, that's going to be terrible. But anyway, it'll be great fun for video. So yeah, I'm going to make a few notes here, but let me just talk about like on the palate. Really follows suit with the aromatics. So again, you get just those little light touches of citrus character to it. You get a little bit of that yeasty white bread character as well. The finish is really smooth and so super pleasant. Like it's absolutely delicious. So, all right, so I'll make a few notes on number 17. Okay, so number 18, we're getting towards the end here. So number 18, giving it a look here. So extremely clear. So this, I mean, it just has just a touch of haziness to it, but is really clear. Like I can see my writing, for instance, behind it. But I can tell you this, the head has held on a little bit better than some of the others. So, and the head is a little bit brighter. It's a little bit more white, which is kind of that more, white to off-white, really classic head for wheat beer. So let's give it a smell. Oh, wow. Okay, like aromatically, totally different than everything I've tasted so far. So, gosh, on the nose right off the bat, the first thing I thought of was lemon. Like just like straight off the bat, lemon. Again, don't think fresh lemon, you know that. Think like nuance of lemon, but that is the first thing that I smell. Actually, it's about all I smell. Yeah, it's just that lemon character. So, yeah, pretty straightforward on the aromatics. So I'll go ahead and give it a taste here. Yeah, wow. So definitely the most citrus focused of all of the Hefes so far. So whereas it was really just kind of like lemon right on the aromatics on the palate, it's mostly lemon, and then there's just this touch of a little bit of like a I don't know, I would say it's more like a sweet orange. So it has this like sweet orange thing going on especially like as it's finishing right now. That's what I taste is orange. Again, guys, let me make it clear. I'm not talking about lemonade and orange juice. That's not what's happening. They're just nuances that are in there. So, yeah, it's well made. It's very unique. And actually, I've been very surprised at how unique all of these beers are. Like no two of them are like, oh, that tastes exactly the same. They're super unique. So make a few notes about number 18 now. Number 19, so number last. Here we go. Yeah, so I can tell right where it was sitting that, so this one has kind of like a 50-50, I would say. It has a little bit of clarity to it, but there's also some cloudiness in it as well. So I would say it kind of lands about in the middle. When it comes to the head, this one is a little bit more off-white than most of the other ones that I've seen. And then with the color, just kind of a subtle kind of tan orange hue to it. So give it a smell here. Very interesting. So, boy, the nose is this is a very interesting one. So I would say this is like, like burnt orange. It is about the best. So I don't know that I've ever smelled burnt orange before, but that's what I think it would smell like. So very unique, very interesting nose to it. All right, so give it a taste now. Yeah, so so it's not as burnt orange tasting as what it smells, but it definitely has that orange character that rolls all the way from the aromatic straight into the palate. That's really the note there. I mean, so hey, if you like orange juice, if you like oranges, like that's the one for you, trust me. Very unique, man. That's one thing, Tim. This tasting has been very interesting to me, how unique every single one of these are. Like they're all so different. No two of them really taste anything alike. So yeah, so make a few notes on 19 here. Orange. Yeah, so I mean it's orange. That's what it is. Very yeah, very interesting beer to me. So okay, man, with that, I'm gonna go ahead and rearrange these in order of my favorites starting over here. So my favorites starting here, and then I'll just order them down from there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out the Dunkel, and I'm gonna kind of set it over here. And then what I wanna do is taste the Dunkel versus like my top two. And I just wanna kind of see how that thing plays in there and just be able to say if the Dunkel is still like, you know, tops for me. But I'm kind of a homer when it comes to that. So I'm telling you straight up. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna put all these things together. Okay guys, so we've had the unbagging ceremony and here we go. Man, I will tell you like right from the top, I'm really happy about the result here. There's a few reasons why. Number one, these three are three of my favorite beers right here. I love all three of these. Even though I thought this one was this one, I'm telling you, these three, like when I'm at a restaurant, like a German restaurant or whatever, when I'm at the grocery store, These are actually 3 beers that I look for because I like all 3 of these, especially when it comes to like specials or discounts or whatever like that. So yeah, with the Hacker Pschorr, yeah, try that one. What I love about this beer is the fact that it has there's a creaminess to this beer, I would even say, that really makes it just delicious. That is so good. Wow. Really excited about that because, like I said, these 3 are just 3 of my favorites. So when it comes to the Paulaner, yeah, really, I have to, no, I'm kidding. Yeah, so both of these have a lot in common. They both have a lot of the elements that I love about wheat beer. So when it comes to that kind of yeasty character, when it also comes to just a touch of that citrus, not that it's in your face, but just those background notes. These are things to me that's wheat beer, that's Hefeweizen to me. And then Benediktiner. So the first time that I had this beer, I was actually at a mini golf place, at a place not too far from here. It's called Bad Bellingen. And they have this huge park, but there's a mini golf in there. And it's like, it's incredible. Tim, I gotta take you there. It's awesome. Anyway, incredible place. So that's the first time that I had this one. So we're sitting out on the patio, the sun's out, all this kind of thing. And oh my goodness, this tasted so good. So, well guys, so there you go. Top 2, no question about it. That, you know, when it comes to the top 3, Benediktiner. Yeah. So as I taste these 3 together, they have similarities. Whereas before I'd said when I was just tasting them, you know, kind of haphazardly, no clue. But they all kind of tasted very unique to me as I tasted through them. So, like I said, now I've got to go to the Dunkel. Now I have to taste this, now that I've tasted the top 3, and just see, even though it's unique, it's different. I've got to just see where it lands for me. So here we go, Dunkel. Yeah, still number 1. Love this beer, you guys. So you won't find it everywhere, but it is available. Like I said, it just has this complexity that I love. But guys, hey, sun-drenched patio, that kind of thing, man, these guys are just going to be the perfect ticket. This one for just kind of hanging out, really wanting something delicious. This beer is so good. So guys, there you go. There's the blind tasting. Tasting all of these different Hefeweizen beers from Germany. I hope it's been helpful to some degree, because I'll tell you straight up, I've been collecting these beers for about 6 weeks or so now. And I've really looked forward to tasting it, but I keep looking for other wheat beers as I go to, and by the way, all these are from grocery stores. So no Getränkmarkts or any of those kinds of things. These all come from grocery stores. I bought them from Kaufland and Heber and Penny and so forth. So I just want you to know these are available. You will find these. And all priced pretty reasonably. So hope it's been helpful. If you've enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. And guys, check out my wine videos. That's really why I'm here as the wine missionary. But guys, I dig beer. It was fun to taste through these. So hey, until next time, I'll say Prost und Tschüss.